Hi, Richard Knudson here again, and welcome to this edition of the Dynamics CRM Trick Bag. Here, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite new features in the area of entity relationships in Dynamics CRM 4.0, so-called self-referential relationships between entities. Now, before we do that, just a little bit of background for you. My company, IMG, we're based in Chicago, and we specialize in consulting and learning solutions for SharePoint and Dynamics CRM. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos or recordings, you'll probably know I'm enthusiastic about many of the new features of Dynamics CRM 4. And from the standpoint of a person who needs to customize CRM and build custom solutions on the CRM platform, the area of entity relationships is one of the biggest improvements in the product. In CRM 3, you could create relationships between custom entities, and you could create relationships between system entities, that is built-in entities within CRM, and your own custom entities. And that gave us some nice functionality. But there's some very important new features in this area in CRM 4. In particular, the ability to create new relationships between the built-in or system entities, and this so-called native many-to-many relationship that we can now support in CRM 4. And in other sessions, I'll go through examples of both of those. But what I want to talk about here is this, again, in my opinion, a very important new piece of functionality, is the ability to create self-referential relationships between entities in Dynamics CRM 4.0. Important new feature. Now, to paraphrase Pink, so what? Well, why do we care about self-referential relationships? It turns out, I think, they're actually important in a lot of real-world situations. A couple of good examples that this gives you the ability to create parent-child relationships between opportunity and case records. It's one place where I've found that useful in lots of situations. But what I'm going to show you here is this example, the ability to create this reporting hierarchy for contact records. So what I'm going to do is create a one-to-many relationship from contact to contact. It'll be, as you'll see, it'll be a referential relationship that I'll have to create. And what that will give me the ability to do is expose a lookup field on the contact form in CRM, and to be able to select a parent, essentially a parent contact for any contact. So what this will give me the ability to do is to support, say, reporting relationships, a manager and a subordinate relationship between contacts at organizations. And I'm going to actually show you this in Dynamics CRM Online. That's the hosted software as a service so-called version of Dynamics CRM that Microsoft rolled out last spring of 2008. And the nice thing about the Microsoft strategy to have the exact same architecture for their hosted and for their on-premise editions is great, because it means the skills that you have are portable, whether you're working in the supporting your organization or a customer in the online hosted environment or in the traditional on-premise environment. So what I'll do next is to navigate to my company's CRM online site and show you how to create a self-referential relationship with the contact entity in Dynamics CRM 4.0. Okay, so to illustrate self-referential relationships and how useful they are, I mentioned I'm going to be using our CRM Online. So I navigate to crm.dynamics.com and sign in with my Windows Live ID, and now I've navigated to our organization here. So I go to Settings and Customization, and I'll select Customize Entities here. And if you're familiar with the on-premise edition of CRM, most of what I do here, you'd be hard-pressed to find any difference between what I'm doing here and what you'll see in on-premise. So the CRM Online, pretty much the same thing in most areas. Okay, so what I want to do is select the contact entity, and I'm going to make some customizations to that. And here it is. And in particular, I'm going to create a one-to-many relationship. So I go to one-to-many relationships on the contact, and I click New One-to-Many Relationship. And the interesting thing about this is that I'm going to select the contact entity itself as the related entity, and instead of contact, I'll give this a slightly better relationship name. Call this relationship will be parent-child on the contact, and the lookup on the relationship attribute display name, I want this to be called parent contact, and I'll show you why. This will be obvious when I actually put this onto the contact form. You'll see that. And then for the navigation pane for the primary entity, I'm going to use a custom label, and I will call this direct reports, and again you'll see in a minute why I'm going to call it that. Now, I'm going to make this a referential relationship. I'm not going to go into this too much now, but if I tried to make this anything other than, if I tried to make it parental, I'd get an error message. I'm going to just use all of the standard defaults here for this referential relationship type. This is the weakest of the relationship behavior types in CRM. Basically, if I make changes to the parent record, nothing will cascade down to the child records. I'm going to go ahead and save and close. So I'm creating that one-to-many relationship from contact to contact. That's the self-referential aspect. And behind the scenes, what CRM does is it creates a lookup attribute that I can then use on the form. And what I'll do here is go to the contact form, and I'll probably go to, I'll just probably put it right here in the names section on the general tab of the contact form. I'll go add a field, and what I'm looking for here is a field of type lookup, so I'll sort on the type column, make it a little bit easier to find them. And I'll go down here until I find my lookups, and here we are. There's my parent contact. So when I created that one-to-many relationship, CRM popped it in there. So now I've got this lookup here, and I'll go ahead and save and close out of the customization area, and I'll go ahead and publish these changes. And keep in mind what I'm doing here. I'm working on CRM Online, so this is the Microsoft hosted, the software as a service version of CRM. And even though it's hosted by Microsoft, their data center in Reston, Virginia, or wherever it might be, I can certainly do all the customizations that I'm familiar with from doing customizations to CRM in the on-premise edition. So the architecture is essentially the same. Now let's navigate to contacts, and let's go ahead and look at all active contacts. And let's suppose I go to Sean Cooper, WMH tool group, and I want to identify his parent contact as Rich Dace, WMH tool group. So I go ahead and use that lookup. So there's my one-to-many relationship. And if I save and close and then navigate to Rich's record, pop that open, what you'll see is that the flip side of that is that Sean Cooper is a direct report now. That's why I called that a direct report on the details tab there, and why I wanted the lookup to be labeled with this parent contact. So now what I can do is create relationships like that between basically any two contact records, and it gives me lots of flexibility to keep track of those reporting relationships. And remember, I can do that not just in contacts, but accounts, opportunities, and any other places, and it makes it a lot easier to do that than the kind of hoops we'd have to jump through in Dynamics CRM 3.0. So I hope you found this helpful. It's an easy thing to do if you appreciate what it's there for, and what I hope we established in that little short session is that something like that, although it's easy to do, is very useful, and I think you'll find lots of different applications for that. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, richardk@imginc.com, or visit our website at www.imginc.com. Thanks.